We'll now be focusing on clinical chemistry laboratory equipments. First, let's talk about pipettes. Your pipettes can be glass, they can also be plastics, it can be reusable or disposable. So the primary purpose of your pipettes is to transfer a specific amount of fluid from one container to another. And the measurement usually is between 1 and 100 milliliters. It can be classified based on the following characteristics. Let's start with the classification based on design. We have to contain pipettes, which is for containing a particular volume. And before you use to contain pipettes, it is better that we pre-wash yung inside of the pipettes with the diluting fluid to be used. So, rinse out muna natin yung pipette using the diluting fluid. And then, usually, there is a small amount of fluid that will cling to the inside wall of the pipette. Examples natin, we have Sally hemoglobin and Lang-Levy. For Sally hemoglobin, it is calibrated with 20 microliters. It can contain 20 microliters. As for Lang-Levy naman, it is containing usually 5 to 500 microliters of liquid. Next is to deliver pipette. It is named as such because it is meant to deliver the quantity of liquid corresponding to the capacity printed on the pipette. It is designed to be drained by gravity, so more commonly it is self-draining. Examples, we have your more serologic, volumetric transfer pipettes are also an example of to-deliver pipettes. Now, as I mentioned earlier, to-deliver pipettes are designed to be drained by gravity. Pag ganun yung definition, it is leaning more on self-draining. So, this following classification is now based on its drainage characteristics. First, let's focus on the blowout pipette. Literally, you are blowing out the excess or yung last drop. You are expelling the last drop of liquid into your receiving vessel. Kailangan meron pa tayong extra force to be exerted para matanggal natin yung natira dun sa tip of the pipette. Example, we have Serologic and Oswald-Folin. And usually, ang distinguishing factor ng mga blowout pipettes natin is that they contain a continuous edged ring or merong two small continuous rings located near the top of the pipette. Later on, I'll give you an example. Second, we have self-draining. So, self-explanatory din, no? From the name itself, kusa lang siya. You'll just allow the content to drain by gravity. And the tip of the pipette should not be in contact with your accumulating fluid in the receiving vessels during drainage kasi pwedeng decrease ito ng accuracy pag nag-touch yung fluid inside the pipette and then yung liquid sa receiving vessel mo, pwedeng mahatak ng kaunti, no? Yung ating volume to be drained. From the name itself, kailangan i-allow mo lang talaga yung content to be drained by gravity. Kung may maiwan man doon sa iyong pipette, hindi na yan part of the fluid na nailagay sa ating receiving vessels. Example, we have volumetric and more pipette. Now, ito yung sinasabi kanina, no, na mayroong distinguishing factor or characteristic ang ating blowout pipette. For you to know that it is a blowout pipette, meron niyang continuous na edged ring or merong two colored bands. But don't confuse it with this one, itong makapal or malapad rather na band placed parang under the neck, no, of the pipette because these colored bands are just the manufacturer's code for the capacity of the pipette. So ito po yung titignan natin, the one nearer to the mouth or the opening of the pipette. Another example of two continuous colored rings. This means that the pipette's drainage characteristic is to blow out. Classification based on use, we have either measuring or graduated or a transfer pipette. Let's talk about it more in the next slides. But take note that for macro pipettes, no, these are designed to dispense fluid that are greater than 1 ml. Pag micropipettes naman, nagdi-dispense sila ng fluids that are less than 1 ml. Now, the common measuring pipettes, we have more and serological pipettes. Ang tatandaan nyo sa more pipettes, no more. Because usually, yung graduations niya nagsa-stop na before it reaches the end or the tip of the pipette. So, if this is your pipette, ito yung dulo, and this is a more pipette, this is already a 5 ml or this already has a 5 ml capacity. Itong volume ng space between the last calibration and the delivery or yung orifice dito, this is unknown, no? So, this space is not usually used for measuring. Kaya, ang dinidispense lang natin hanggang doon lang sa ating calibration mark. As for the serological pipettes, yung graduation marks niya, tuloy-tuloy lang up to the tip of the pipette. If you'll notice, dito sa ating picture, naka-number 9 lang, no? But this is a 10 ml pipette. Ibig sabihin, kasama pa pati yung remaining dito na volume, yung fluid dito. So, usually, yung serological pipettes ay to be blown out. So, they are generally a blowout pipette. Another difference of the two, mas larger yung orifice, itong opening sa dulo, no? Mas larger yung orifice ng ating serological pipettes than your more pipettes. Next are the transfer pipettes. We have your Ostwald-Folin pipette. This is for viscous fluids natin. Viscous, no, yung merong thick, sticky consistency ng mga fluids. Usually, ang example niyan is blood. And they are blowout types of pipettes and they have a bulb near the tip of the pipette. As for a volumetric pipette, still a transfer pipette, no? Similar na meron silang bulb, but the bulb is located at the center. And then isa lang din yung graduation nito, but it can be between 1 and 100 ml. So merong 1 ml, merong ibang variations na 50 ml, meron yan usually between 1 and 100 ml. Another type of transfer pipette, we have the pasture pipette. Ang pasture pipette, it can be a glass or a plastic, as shown in this picture. They do not usually have calibration marks, but if they do, ganito po yung itsura. So we are transferring solutions without consideration of a specific volume. Next, let's move forward to the types of automatic pipette. Yung automatic pipettes natin, this is a common laboratory tool that is used to handle a measured volume of liquid between 1 microliter to 1,000 microliters or 1 ml. Due to the high accuracy ng automatic pipettes natin, this laboratory tool is commonly used in standard pipetting applications. As for its type, no, depende lang sa principle kung paano siya mag-aspirate. One is via air displacement, which solely relies on the piston for suction. And then it will draw the sample into a disposable tip that must be changed every after use. As for a positive displacement type of automatic pipette, yung tip naman nila, yun yung merong disposable plunger that's like a syringe. The plunger directly displaces the fluid with no error. These are known for its accuracy, no? So these are the most accurate type of automatic pipettes, but they are also the most expensive. Next, we have the dispenser and diluter or the diluter. These are still automated equipments that are used to obtain liquids from a common reservoir and it dispenses it repeatedly. Yung diluter, this often combines sampling and dispensing functions. We have different types. First type, we have the bottle top, no, from the name itself. Ina-attach lang siya on top of the bottle or yung ating reagent bottle. It can be used to dispense organic or inorganic solvents. So transfer lang yan from bottle or other containers. Next, we have the motorized. So ito naman, electric-powered dispensers or dilutors. It is ideal for dedicating dispensing or diluting applications inside machines. Now, pwede rin namang mechanical, no, mano-mano. It can be a handheld type. This is easier to use, basta dapat fix lang yung volume adjustment. It is also lightweight, and pwede siya for just one-handed operations. And then the other one is just a variation wherein naka-attach na sa diluter yung ating dispenser. Ito na yung tinatawag na the diluter and dispenser system. This one can greatly improve work efficiency in the sample preparation process. So it is usually widely used sa mga analytical techniques such as high-performance liquid chromatography or yung ating HPLC, sa GC also or the gas chromatography. What else? Pwede rin sa atomic absorption. And it can also be used for forensic analysis, mining industry, oil sampling, ayan, and ultimately for reagent dispensing. Now, I just included a video regarding the proper usage of your micropipettes. Make sure that you view this. I'll place this as a link na lang, no, in a PDF so that we will save time in this video. So don't forget, please review this because when we go back to face-to-face learning, by next week, you will proceed to your return demo. Now, aside from learning how to use micropipettes, you should also learn how to use yung ating glass pipettes, na reusable pipettes, no? And before you can aspirate liquids on those pipettes, kailangan meron tayong gagamitin na pipette bulbs. The pipette bulb is used to draw the liquid up into your pipette, and there are different types. We have 4. Let's talk about it one by one. First, we have the rubber bulb. This is the most commonly used in the laboratory because of its cost-effectiveness. So, pindot lang natin siya, mag-aspirate and release na tayo ng ating liquid. As for your pipette pumper naman, this is characterized to be delivering liquid safely. How? Because it contains 3 valves. The first valve will release air, while another valve will draw in the liquid, and then a third one will regulate and release the liquid naman. Next, we have the pipette aid, which is excellent for use with Westergren at Winthrop tubes natin for sedimentation testings. And we have here the pipette pumper, which is also easy to use and also accurate because meron siyang specific na volume lang na ina-aspirate, kaya color-coded din siya. Usually, it's just made from plastic. And then, yung kanyang suction na meron niyang nerved na wheel, so tataas mo lang or bababa, then gradual na yung pag-angat or pagbaba ng ating fluid inside the pipette. Now, how do we properly use your pipettes? First, using one hand, you hold the pipette about 8 centimeters below the mouthpiece, and then using your other hand, squeeze na natin yung bulb and touch the opening of the mouth of the pipette. Make sure that you insert no more than 1/2 centimeter of the pipette into the bulb, and then take note of the placing ha, masanay ng ganito po yung hawak sa inyong pipettes para naka-ready po yung index finger later on when you cover the mouth of the pipette. Now, still maintaining that position, naka-attach po yung bulb dun sa opening ng mouth of the pipette. Vertically placed pa din po. Vertically positioned pa rin ng ating pipette. You place the tip of your pipette, yung pinakadulo, no, into your colored liquid, and then slowly, you will release the pressure on your bulb. Take note ha, slowly, wag po mabilis kasi mag-shoot up po yung inyong fluid. Mako-contaminate na yan kapag nag-touch yan dun sa tip din ng inyong aspirator bulb. The liquid will be drawn up into the pipette and will form a curved surface against the glass. Now, what do you call that curved surface? Now, that surface is what you call the meniscus, and you just pull the bottom of the meniscus up about 1 centimeter past your desired level, and then quickly but carefully remove the bulb as you slip your free index finger over the tip of the mouthpiece hole. Make sure that you never use your thumb to cover the mouthpiece hole because your index finger will allow better control and will also enable you to hold other items using your free fingers whenever necessary. Still, in that position, nakakover pa din yung mouthpiece hole with your index finger. You gently lift your pipette out of the solution, and then you raise your finger just enough to allow the bottom of the meniscus to line up with your desired graduation mark. And make sure that you're observing that meniscus at eye level. Now, pag properly lined na yung meniscus dun sa desired graduation mark mo, you touch the tip of the pipette, itong tip na to, touch mo lang siya gently on the sides of your container that is holding the colored water. This is just to remove any drops of liquid on the end of the pipette. Itatouch lang hindi ka mag-re-release ng any fluid. Kung meron lang extra drop dun sa dulo, i-touch lang natin dun sa tip of the container before you proceed with the next procedure. Still, in that position, you just keep your finger on the mouthpiece hole. Wipe the sides of the pipette with tissue paper. Again, sides lang hindi po yung tip because you will now remove the volume or you will remove the fluid and then hindi na accurate yung volume inside. You will repeat the process all over again. And then, if clean na po yung gilid, you touch the tip of the inside of the tilted container. Lift your finger off the end of the mouthpiece hole. Pag inangat mo yan slowly, you will allow the liquid to drain out of the pipette. Hold the pipette in this position for a few seconds after it stops draining, and then wipe the pipette again before disposal or clean the pipette with distilled water. Here I also attach the complete video of the procedure that I've explained earlier. Make sure that you review this because when we go back, proceed tayo agad sa return demonstration. Now, earlier, I have mentioned about the meniscus. Again, yung meniscus natin, yan yung curve, curve either downward or upward. This is the curvature in the top surface of your liquid. The pipette should be held that the calibration mark is at eye level so that our readings will be accurate. Kapag lower meniscus yan, that is usually for clear solutions. Ito yung tinatawag na lower meniscus. Pag upper meniscus, nakapaibabaw. So, lower meniscus, naka-concave siya. So, parang, hinalukay. It's caved downwards. Pag convex naman, paibabaw. So, lower meniscus, saan siya ginagamit? Clear solutions. Yung surface niya, it curves inward like the interior of a circle or yung spheres natin. And for convex meniscus naman, yung upper meniscus natin, it's usually for colored or viscous solutions. So, kung kanina yung ating lower meniscus, it is curved inward. Yung ating convex naman, it is curved or rounded outward like the exterior of a sphere or circle. Next, we have the laboratory vessels. These are glasswares or other apparatus na calibrated, because these are used for quantitative measurements. Examples natin, we have the following. First is the volumetric flask. This is calibrated to hold one exact volume of liquid. So these are basically two contain types of vessels. Erlenmeyer flask also is designed to hold different volumes rather than one exact amount. So this is also a to contain type of vessel. Beakers also to contain din tayo. They are used to hold different volumes. Example, we have the standard beakers known as your Griffin beakers. They have lower beakers and their height is just about 40% of its diameter. Yung taller one naman, ito yung Berzelius na beakers na tinatawag. They are thin and their height is double their diameter. Ito usually yung makikita nyo sa ating laboratory, yung mga Griffin type of beakers. Next, we have the graduated cylinder. These are used to measure liquid and they are calibrated to deliver. It can be used to measure a specified volume of liquid. Next is the thermometer. The first type is the liquid in glass. It is named as such because there is a colored liquid, itong red na to, colored liquid or mercury that is encased inside either a plastic or glass material. It has a bulb at one end and a graduated stem. This can measure temperature between 20 degrees Celsius hanggang 400 degrees Celsius in some variations. There are three types of liquid in glass thermometers. First, we have the partial immersion. Kaya partial immersion lang, no, meron lang siyang indicated na line. It should be immersed to the proper height as indicated by the continuous line etched in the thermometer. This is the one used for measuring yung temperature in units such as their heating blocks and the water bath. Yung ginagamit for refrigeration application is the total immersion thermometer. Pag total immersion, it should be submerged to within 1 centimeter of the thermometer column's liquid level for you to have an accurate reading. Surface thermometers naman, these are placed on flat surfaces such as your oven or incubator. Another kind is your electronic thermometer or thermistor probe. The advantage of this is its size and also its millisecond response time, but the disadvantage is that it can be very expensive. As for digital thermometers naman, this usually allows you to quickly verify temperatures of foods, liquids, even water baths, air or gas, incubators, and even refrigerators.